Hi guys, first of all, I just want to apologise for the lack of content from me recently. Life's been a bit hectic and our 6-year-old boy broke his elbow. So yeah, it's been a bit mad recently. He's healing up boys, little trooper, he's doing okay thankfully. I figured I'll get a video out. This one's going to be on the new Tier 8 Premium. I'm going to mispronounce it, I'm guessing. I'm going to go with Mauerbrecher. Probably got it completely wrong. It's that big clonking super heavy tank that's in the store at the moment. Now my mate Jocko3000 gifted this to me. I'm not sure if he did it out of generosity, to troll me, or a bit of both. This tank doesn't have a good reputation on PC, classed as mediocre at best, underpowered at worst, so I'm going to go through some of its strengths and weaknesses. Now I'm going to start with one upside. It looks amazing with googly eyes. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there's that. You don't buy a premium tank for that, but if you do get it, it looks good with him. Onto a downside, this thing is slow. It's limited at 20 kilometers per hour, so you're not going anywhere fast. And if the game decides you're going to spawn in a valley when you need to go up a hill like this, well then good luck with that. Now I was contemplating fast forwarding this bit, but then I figured I'm going to make you all endure it. Now the reason for that, because if you're contemplating buying this tank, you need to know what you're getting yourself in for. There's gonna be a lot of time where you're just driving just like this. If that bores you senseless and you would just hate it, then I wouldn't suggest you buy this tank, because when you get to a fight it can be good, but once you've killed things you have to go slowly driving around looking for more things. So yeah, you spend a lot of your time very, very slowly doing nothing but admiring the scenery. It being slow presents other problems as well. You're going to have games where green team are going to run off, murder all the red tanks, and you're not going to see any of them, and you're going to drive around looking at burning wrecks. You're going to have other games where you do get to the fight just as the last green tank there dies, and then you're going to get swarmed by, 8 red tanks or whatever and die. Okay, it's only fair to warn you that that does happen with this thing, and it doesn't matter if you're a new player or the best super purple in the game, because you can't alter the speed of the tank, it's top speed. There's going to be games where you just don't get to do anything. And yeah, it's only fair that I warn you about that. It's the same with every slow tank, but this one obviously you pay money for. And if you can't stand the thought of that, then yeah, avoid it. Now here, we've not got many tanks up here with us. My platoon mate is behind me, and I believe there was a hammer somewhere. So I want to be a distraction here, hoping that my platoon mate can shoot them while they're busy shooting me. Now there's a bit of an act to this. I want to get close enough to make it so they've got a crest over the ridges to get shots on me. That's why I didn't stay further back, but I also can't get too close, because if I get too close then they'll be able to YOLO me. So it's about finding a bit of a sweet spot in this situation. Now the tank does require good use of angling. It does have good armour, it's also littered with weak spots. But if you don't angle, then your chances of bouncing many shots are going to be quite slim. You need to be angling and you need to be moving a lot. The reason for that is because the lower plate is a weak spot, like it is on the VK100P. However, this tank has got more weak spots than that. This one's got a machine gun port on the front. That's only about 140mm thick. And the cupola is only 150mm thick. So that means pretty much any tank you're facing can pen this frontally, even the tier 6s. So with that in mind, you have to keep moving, wiggling about and stuff like that. Now the side armor's quite thick, thankfully, but it's flat, so again you have to get your angling spot on to make sure people aren't going to pen that. Now that does require practice. I like super heavies, so I've got a fair amount of gameplay hours in them. But it took me quite a while to learn how to, angle against multiple tanks like I'm doing here. I'm bouncing a fair amount of shots, but I wouldn't want anyone buying it thinking, that this is going to bounce loads of shots all the time, because that isn't true. Here I'm against some tier 7 tanks, and Like I say, I'm doing a fairly good job of my angling up until this bit. I left my turret facing at him. Now he's got a high pen gun and he cut straight through the front of my turret. And I should have angled my turret away from him a little bit. This goes to show how one mistake in your angling is going to lead to you getting penned. However, if you've had plenty of practice angling and you know what you're doing with it, then you can bounce a fair bit of damage with this tank, to be fair. So if you like your super heavies, you know, if you're good in Japanese heavies, E100s, tanks like the Mouse, VK100P, if you can do angling well in them and bounce plenty of damage, then you're going to be able to bounce plenty of damage in this, for the most part. Now the reason I say for the most part is because this is almost like a super heavy version of the Super Pershing. Because it's got multiple weak spots on the front of the tank. If you come across a player who knows what they're doing, they're going to be able to put shot after shot through your weak spots, and you're going to find it really, really hard to make it so they can't. At the moment, people aren't used to shooting this tank, so it's able to block a fair bit of damage. But that's going to change over time, and it's going to go from people assuming it's like a VK100P, thinking, you know, it's got really good armor, not sure where to shoot it kind of thing. It's going to go from that to people realising it's got multiple weak spots on the front, and you know, the armor over time is almost going to, you know, decrease in effectiveness. Yeah, you've got to bear that in mind if you buy this tank. You could buy it today and you might bounce a ton of damage, and then 2 months down the line everything might be cutting straight through. The way to mitigate that is to angle as good as you can and keep moving. Keep wiggling your turret around, keep moving your tank backwards and forwards, and just try and throw off shots to the weak spots on the tank. So yeah, the armor's a bit... it's got good armor. And yeah, unless you come across a player who knows what they're doing. The gun is the same as on the VK100P. You're going to do about 440 damage. Base reload's about 15 seconds. I've got a rammer, vents, food, brothers in arms. My reload's at about 11 seconds, which ain't too bad for 440 damage. I'm okay with that. The gun handling is pretty good, to be fair. It's not a Tiger 2, but considering the gun has got similar penetration and alpha to the gun on the Defender, this one has got far better gun handling than that one does. Base accuracy is about 0.40, your aiming time is about 2.7 seconds. That's not so bad. You're not going to be sniping with it, but this isn't a tank designed for sniping. This is one designed for, well, brawling, really, I guess, and just holding the line. Now here, Lee's gone forwards to spot the arty. The arty was annoying me, but I think it annoyed Lee more because it actually penned his Type 59 and left him with bugger all health. However, they've got tanks up on the ridge on the far side, so going after the arty would be risky. Now I'm going to move forwards anyway. We've got a heavy tank coming up on the left there who's not paying attention to me, so I can easily pen the side of his tank. Due to the high alpha damage, the damage that you do does build up quite nicely with this tank, which is good. You don't have to pen many shots to break 2k damage. And it earns a decent amount of money as well, to be fair to it. Now he's dead, but I'm going to be shot by the arty. I shouldn't have come over here, really. I wanted to kill the arty and get some shots on the tanks at the other side. Honestly, I got a bit overconfident and I do end up paying for it. The Italian tank managed to damage my ammo rack, and now I'm just trying to back away so I'm not spotted. At this point, Lee made a good point. He said we're capping their base, and said I should just pull back and we'll just cap and make sure no one, you know, gets down there. Which was definitely the wiser idea, because my plan left me with, what's that, 38 hit points? So yeah, I'm just reversing away at this point. But like I said, the replay is going to cut a bit short, because I spend about 2 minutes just sat in the field, unspotted, not moving. We win by cap, but I'm not going to bore you all to death whilst I'm doing nothing at all. You know, I'm just basically sat there idle. So instead of doing that, I'll cut it short and we'll go back to the garage and I'll go through the armour in a little bit more detail, because there's another weak spot. Okay, so now we're back in the garage and we'll have a quick look at the armour on this beastie. Not going to be ages, no 10-minute look at it or anything like that, just 2 or 3 minutes just to go through some of the weak spots and things. Now I'll bring up the armour viewer so we can get a better look. There we go. Now that makes the machine gun port, the hatch and the lower plate weak spots a bit more obvious. Sorry about that, I'm not used to this new layout on the armour viewer. Right, there we go. So the machine gun port, it's worth bearing in mind it's spherical. So that means it doesn't matter which way you angle your hull, it's still going to be really easy to pen that. The good news is that and the cupola are both on the right hand side of the tank. So if you can, get yourself parked behind a building, for instance, covering the right hand side, then the tank becomes a lot harder to pen. But if you've got that right hand side visible, you're in trouble. Now the cupola, as you can see there, is 150mm thick. So yeah, tier 6 is pretty much anything this comes across can pen that, and the machine gun port is 140. So, they're very weak. Now there's another weak spot here, on the side of the mantlet. It's only 80mm thick. That means even a light tank low tier is going to be able to pen that. It's not a weak spot you can make use of all the time, but it is worth bearing in mind. Initially I thought maybe that's 80, but the bit armour behind the mantlet maybe. However, that isn't the case. I'll bring up the turret armour. There we go. As you can see, no armour behind the mantlet. So if you can pen through that 80mm section, you're going to damage the tank. Not something you can use all the time, but it's worth knowing every weak spot that your enemy has. As for the rest of it, the side armour and the turret armour is decent. The back is 100mm, so not going to bounce much really with the back of it. And the roof and the top of the hull is paper for artillery shells. Now here's the stats. Decent engine. As you can see, the gun's pretty good. I think it's got a decent gun, and it's also got good view range. 400 view range is pretty decent. Although you're so slow, most things are going to be spotted before you get there. I really like the tank, I'll be honest. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm chuffed that Jocko gifted it to me, but I can't recommend it for everybody. It's got a lot of negatives, and some of those negatives, like the armour for instance, those weak spots are going to get more well known over time, so the armour's not going to remain as effective as it is now. So it's definitely a niche tank. If you enjoy your super heavies, then you might like this one. Other than that though, I can't recommend it to people. It's only for people who enjoy playing the big huge slow tanks. Anyone else is probably going to hate the damn thing. Or maybe play it for a little bit, and then once they're getting penned a lot, they'll get sick of it and regret it. Now, my next video is probably going to be on the Atomic. My mate Lee gifted me this, and I can't wait to do a video on it, because it seems like a really good tank. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, guys. Again, I apologise for it having been a while since the last one. If you enjoyed the vid, please like or subscribe if you've not already. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.